All right. Good evening. And I'm going to play Tommy Robinson's interview with Jonny Adair. I don't know anything about the Irish Troubles. So let's have a listen. Subscribe to Urban Scoop.
Spending his teenage years on the streets fighting, he has served several prison sentences and has had attempts on his life. A past that has shaped the man I welcome onto my podcast today. Welcome to my latest edition of my podcast, Silenced. Sometimes I end up feeling sorry for myself. Sometimes I end up feeling like the world's out to get me, people are out to get me, and that I'm in a bad place. And then in future, I picked up the next guest's book and started looking into his life. And I realised I ain't been through shit in comparison. So my next guest is Jonny Mad Dog Adair. Jonny, thank you for joining me today.
It's a pleasure to be here, and it's delighted to be in your company.
No, thank you. I want to get into. You've lived a crazy life, Jonny. A very mad life.
Well, I was born and bred in Belfast. Shortly after, when I was about 9 or 10, the Troubles broke out, which is what you would have heard of over here. Protestants and Catholics, Republicans and Loyalists, and it went on for years, for years and years and years, and it was a bloody conflict where almost 5,000 people lost their lives. Catholics, Protestants, soldiers, policemen, prison officers, until it ended almost 20 years ago when the Good Friday Agreement came about. And now, thankfully, there's peace over there. It's an uneasy peace, but it's peace. People's not being killed or no bombs are going off.
How old was you, Jonny, when the Troubles broke out?
When the Troubles broke out, I was about 9 or 10. So even at that age, at a young age, and that's the way Belfast was, I was involved in the street violence, because that's what it was. It was just every day, almost every day in life, you had the two communities battling with each other, street riots.
Can you remember what life was like before that 1969?
Well, before that, yes, my friends were Catholics. Some of them were Catholics. We lived side by side. We were young kids, and everyone lived together over there. There was no trouble, and there was no hatred, because they all lived together. And then when the Troubles broke out in 1969, the Catholics and Protestants had to separate from the communities that they were living in, or they were forced out. Both Protestants was Catholics and Catholics forced Protestants out, and then for thereafter we just all lived segregated. What they would deem as United Ireland. Remember, we lived in Northern Ireland, which is Ulster, which is part of the United Kingdom, and that's what we were fighting for. That's what we took up arms for, to defend our union. Whereas the Republicans wanted the 6 counties, they wanted that to be all as one.
So, but Republicans wanted a united Ireland. And how would you describe a loyalist? So, for people who, what would the loyalists were wanting?
Well, we were defending it because we seen ourselves. We're British citizens, right? And the my opinion was killing and destroying enough to prevent this from happening. So that's where the loyalist paramilitaries emerged as a defensive force.
How many attacks? Was that an instant thing? So you had the IRA, and the IRA were targeting the British, they're targeting the military.
You can come up, mate. Do you know what? I really don't know anything about the Troubles in Ireland. I really don't. So I'm just playing this interview maybe review a documentary because I really don't. I don't. All I knew it was about the IRA when they were attacking in London, but still didn't even really know. I didn't know who was what, and I really don't. It's one of these things I never bothered about. To be fair, all I knew was just attacks in London, but not really who from really.
They're planting bombs, they're killing soldiers. How many attacks were there before British men started forming their own paramilitaries to combat it?
Did you say he was no hero in Kabul? I have seen a documentary on him before. Jonny Adair, but that was ages ago, and I just really need to be reminded. To be fair.
Was it an overnight thing? Was it
not an overnight? Yes, an overnight thing. It started off with vigilante groups, where ordinary men, like people like our fathers, and.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that. Okay. All right. This is intriguing. Then I have to. This has made it more intriguing, mate. I need to get a couple of Irish people who actually lived there, and that, you know.
Would have defended their own communities, and they call themselves vigilantes, where they put barricades up in their streets to prevent Catholics from coming in, because that's the way it eventually turned out. It was like mob rule. Hundreds of Catholics would come into a Protestant area and try and smash all the houses up, and vice versa. So after the vigilantes, I think they lasted for about 6 months or a year. And then born from the vigilantes became the loyalist paramilitaries. Because the IRA was realised that they would have to do something to face the IRA with what they're doing, and that's where the UVF and UDA was born out of.
And this for you started when you were 9 or 10, then 1969. Yep. How quickly, because you ended up rising through the ranks to become you're probably the most famous face of the paramilitaries.
In my teenage years, it was you were too young to join the paramilitaries, so we were engaged in street battles with Catholics. That's the way it was. The way over here, when you kids were probably going to a park and playing football and playing in the swings, we were at the Catholics and vice versa, and this is what we were doing at a young age. And then when we became teenagers, that's when we joined the paramilitaries, because it wasn't throwing stones in.
All right, so but what you're saying Can you hear me now? Right, let's start again with it. StreamYard sent me a message. There's problems of sharing at the moment. It's getting fucking annoying. They better give me a discount, I'm telling you. Bear with me, guys. I don't know what the fucking problem is with StreamYards at the moment. Adverts now because I've got it on Ramble. Good now. Okay, mate. Oh, StreamYards did send me a message just about 5 minutes ago. They were fixing on it. So I thought it was the computer, but it's them. They need to sort it out. But I carried on from 9 minutes.
I had, there was 9 of us.
Tell me, guys, if you can hear it okay.
In a family, I had 5 sisters and 1 brother.
Okay, wow.
Yep. But I was the only one that became involved with a paramilitaries.
Okay.
And
why do you think that was?
Well, it was because it was a defence of my country and a defence of my community. And
why do you think?
Why do I think?
Why do you think your brothers and sisters?
Oh, sorry. Well, because my mother and father, there was not a political bone in their body. My father was a clean living man. He never smoked. He never drank. He worked all his life, and he actually had Catholic friends.
I read this.
He had Catholic friends, and he would have been against all this.
Okay.
My mother, she would just they weren't politically. Only when it came to her doorstep, because we lived close to peace lines, and then Catholics would have come in and smashed your windows and your cars up, and obviously your mother would come out and it would be the same. She would be shouting at them.
So that'd be a regular occurrence. Would that be a regular occurrence?
Right.
Mums.
Yep.
Your house is coming.
Yep.
Attack.
That was it. What you needed as much support, and then the IRA they just became the dominant force where they blew this, they just blew the country to pieces on a daily basis, not every now and again, on a daily basis.
Daily bombings, daily murders,
every single day in life. You turned on the news in the morning, a policeman had been shot dead, 2 policemen, soldiers are blew up, Protestant been shot dead, or vice versa, Catholic man shot dead. But it's just the way it was. That was normal in Belfast. Very, 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 very dangerous.
Daily.
Yep.
Communities are affected daily. People you know are affected.
Yep. Because you're segregated. Once we lived together, and then overnight, just overnight, hundreds of Catholics were burnt out, hundreds of Protestants were burnt, Protestant areas. So you have a hatred of your enemy. They're like they're one of the area, and you're in another section area, and there's peace lines and barriers that separate us. So there came a stage where we had no contact with Catholics. You would only see them on the battlefield.
It's easier then to hate.
The hatred was there because you knew that the Catholics, although the IRA was killing us, but we knew that the IRA could only be successful with the support of the Catholic community. So that's where our hatred came, because if the Catholic community didn't want this to happen, surely they would have turned, they wouldn't have supported the IRA the way they did. Specifically targeting RUC as police officers or members of the British Army. But again, everything, they're just, he's a policeman, he's kill him. There was multiple massacres of innocent civilians, both Protestants and Catholics.
See, it's like, so if I think of my childhood, I think of playing football, I think of growing up. But I guess everyone who grew up in these areas of Northern Ireland, their childhood is this conflict.
As a child, we were grew up with a fear of Catholics, because these Catholics are trying to kill us. As a young kid, and when you see, and when you're involved in what was going on in the streets, they're going to kill us. So, and there will come a day they probably will kill us, and they will get their own way, because we had this fear that they wanted this united Ireland, and they're going to fight and die to get it, which the war doing. And we felt we were on the receiving end of this, because the security forces, they were effective, but they weren't 100% effective, where we could live safely and peacefully and get on with our everyday life, which we couldn't do. So that hatred not just came from us against the professional IRA and other Republican groupings, but against the whole entire Catholic community, because they supported the Republican groups.
So, and what age was you then when you went from throwing bottles, throwing rocks?
Association, which at the time was legal. They were legal, and they weren't outlawed. They weren't banned or subscribed. The UDA that was involved in military operations against Republicans.
When you
military, shortly after I joined the UDA, because I wanted to do something more than throwing bottles and bricks. I wanted to do, because again, and it was the time, if you can remember, the hunger strikers in 1980 and the early 80s. Where 10 hunger strikers died on 10 IRA prisoners, Republican prisoners died on hunger strike, and this every time one of them had died, the violence in the street increased, and it was going, and it was frightening for the Protestant people,
because the Catholics were getting riled up.
It was just mayhem, and it was. I think which is like a Battalion C company. I think we done a very effective job against the members of Sinn Féin and the IRA, because I knew that the IRA don't stop. So I'm not going to have a dig at them and then go and take a break. I need to keep going after these people, keep going after them, because if I can put, if we can put pressure on these people, they're going to start thinking that they're not getting away with what they're doing lately. They're not going to shoot soldiers and policemen and Protestants. And nobody's coming after them. When they were doing that, it was coming after them. We were getting them. They didn't like that.
Because obviously when they're at war with the government, they're at war with the government. They're at war with British police, they're at war with British Army.
Yeah.
Now they're at war with the people. So anyone who's standing up, like yourself,
yep, well,
they're going to want to finish you as well.
But that came at a high price for me, because I was at one time on the top of their most wanted list.
I can remember when I was a kid seeing videos of you standing outside with crowds behind you.
Yep.
I can remember.
You see, because I was effective, and they through time realised who I was and what I was all about, and then they believe that I'm behind all this. We need to stop this, man. And they tried multiple times to kill me, multiple times.
How many? So you, as C Company, how many sort of, when you led it?
Yeah.
How many men were there in it? And how many attacks
C
did you say?
Company, there would have been hundreds of men in C Company, but the military wing, which was more important, which was the Ulster Freedom Fighters, there would have been maybe a couple of dozen of us, but they were all, with respect to each and every one of them, they were all dedicated loyalist Ulster men, and they never ever questioned orders they gave. They were committed to that badge, and they were committed to the defence of Ulster, and then they were very courageous, brave young men.
Who makes the decision on what you're attacking? Who you're attacking?
Well, that's a collective decision. It's made up. You have the brigadier and target, and they'll target him, and then
that position. How do you know who to trust in that position?
Well, this is $1 million question. You don't. And I've learned that you can trust no one.
Because even the IRA,
no.
Many of the IRA's lead members were working for the British.
All paramilitary organisations are infested with informers and rats.
Yeah.
And I don't mean rats in the ground. I mean human being rats who would sell their comrades
for money.
They keep themselves out of jail and for money. So yes, you're right that you don't know. At one time, I believed that if a man had been personally involved in pulling the trigger, I would never have suspected him of being an informer because I didn't think that you would be allowed to work for the special branch if you took another person's life. But I got that one wrong. I've learned that it was some of the ones who were maybe a wee bit very active. They were the ones that surprised me that turned out to be rats, informers,
so people understand that. So people understand that the British government allowed informers to kill.
British government, to a certain extent, yes, turned a blind eye to their informers. They were willing to get someone who was maybe killing people
to rise up.
So he was trusted, and he would know the inner workings of the organisation, and this is what the special branch needed to know. What's he doing? What's his thinking? And no better person to do that than somebody that I would maybe have behind me who thinks a good man, who's maybe done a few hits, but I got that wrong. And the good thing I learned from that, from the Good Friday Agreement and the police ombudsman, and where they investigated collusion and unearthed informers within loyalist paramilitaries and Republican paramilitaries. And that's the mistake I made by trusting someone who had been directly involved in a shooting. I didn't believe that they could be. The police would allow them to work, but they did, and that's where I found that a lot of them came from. They were the ones to watch.
I don't want to try and draw a comparison because my life has been nothing like that. But everyone who's been close to me has turned on me. So I have a trust issue, but I'm thinking you're running a paramilitary.
Absolutely,
there's a war.
I'm going to tell you something. Yes, you're absolutely right, Tommy. Now, I was dedicated, committed, and I loved C Company, but I hated the IRA and all things Republican. Now, every time people would think you hated the IRA that much, yes, but the IRA was not my number one target. And first, on top of my agenda when I came out of my house every day was the enemy within, not the IRA. It was the enemy within. And what I mean by that, I was thinking and guessing and setting traps to, I wonder is he working for the special branch? I wonder is he working for MI5? Even some of my closest comrades, that's where I was. My priority was informers. And then secondly, go after the IRA because it's the informers that's bringing you down. We know where the IRA is coming from. We know what the IRA is going to do, but you don't know what your so-called comrades is passing on information. And that's the thing, Tommy. You'll never know. And it's hard.
Is that draining? Is that not draining daily to know looking at?
Absolutely.
Because I get paranoid.
Yes, you're right. But the message to that and the answer to that, Tommy, execute them and send a powerful message. That's my opinion.
Is that what happened within the?
Well, agreed on it. They humiliated them. They took them away. They tore head. Is the worst thing. It's so-called your comrades and a loyalist paramilitary group fighting the enemy who's destroying and murdering and slaughtering our people. But yet of all these rats are going on information on men that's out risking their life and their freedom.
Endangering those men.
Yep. Absolutely. So that I've preferred hatred for informers, a profound hatred for
them. What goes on in America with the Proud Boys.
Yeah.
I saw one of the main leaders, they come out and leak that he was an informant. Yeah. But how do you not? I always look and think, well, they're going to throw these accusations. It's a mind war. It's a mind battle.
Well, there could be black propaganda, but like you got to remember, five especially, they're good at their job. And what they do, I wasn't worried about the wee £20 a week informant. That's the wee guy sitting in the pub who overhears things.
Right, about somebody
passes them on. The MI5.
This is mad. Isn't it? It's hard to think a life like that was like that in a little small country, isn't it? Really? Ireland. Do you know what I mean?
Within the three groupings over there, all came from the highest tier, the highest ranking members that you could get in the IRA, the UVF, and the UDA. They were informers.
And they're meant to be fighting for their cause.
And this has been made public. This isn't just me saying this.
No.
And I'm not just talking about my reign. I'm talking about from start to finish. And that's the way it is. And that's what the special branch in MI5 and British government do. They try to recruit people.
Do you know how they recruited them? Was it fair?
Well,
was it money? Was it blackmail? Was it?
Look, my experience, in my opinion, it's acceptable. And maybe I'm wrong, but I've experienced, and I was the nerve center of what went on for a long, long time. But in my experience, I would have dealt differently with informers. But my experience, it's acceptable. And the reason I learned why would it be acceptable with certain men, because these certain men are informers themselves. So they're not going to want to execute an informer when themselves, they know they're informers. So I just, it was at the highest of the highest level. And I'm not just talking about, I'm talking about the IRA.
Do you know
look at Freddie Stapper teaching.
I've been to Dublin. Do you know what? Ireland is a lovely country, and it's a shame it went all through this, really, all because of the name of religion, isn't it? That's what it boils down to, religion.
Steak knife. He's now dead. You don't get much higher than him. And then there's been
loyalists.
He was
working for the British.
There's been IRA too, and you have so-called loyalists at the highest level of the organisations who've been publicly named as informers.
Yeah.
And there's nothing done about it. But I would deal with that differently. And I'll not say on camera what I would do.
Yeah.
And I've no shame or no regret about doing it. Because that is the enemy. That is the real enemy.
Yeah, it's like even when we hear about this Russian attack on the where
Putin, like, not many people like the Russians, but that's why I admire Putin.
Well, because the bloke deserves to be died.
He doesn't forget his informers.
He deserves to be killed.
He comes after them. 100%.
I said that when everyone's like, well, he's killed this bloke, I said, well, the bloke deserved to die.
That's why I like Putin.
Yeah.
Jonny Adair must be in his 50s and that. He looks quite well, to be fair.
Doesn't forget his fucking his backstabbers or his agent provocateurs. He goes off them and he sends that message. And fair play to him for that.
What about C Company? How many attacks would you say?
Well, under my command, and I was in command for years.
How many
hundreds of attacks, hundreds and hundreds of attacks.
Are we talking? Am I right that that rockets were fired at Sinn Féin?
Rocket RPG 7s. RPG-7s with C Company would have attacked Sinn Féin offices, Sinn Féin headquarters, Sinn Féin.
So So Ichabod, it was never a religion for me. It was a hatred for the power and not forcing people into a country they wasn't born in. It didn't want to live in. Was that from the Dublin side or um, the Republic side, Ichabod? You really got to educate me. Yeah, because more than religion, that was just a tiny bit of it. What it was. You could ever hate someone because of their religion. Okay, you keep putting it in the things, man. Educate me, guys. Educate me, please.
Can I ask, where does the, when this war was going on,
Yeah.
where's the funding come from for the weapons for these
Well,
attacks?
I'll be brutally honest. It came from illegal activities like extortion
Okay.
and armed robberies.
Extortion of businesses.
And I'm being brutally honest. In some cases, drugs. And I got
Even back then?
So
Even back
people
then.
from
Because I thought there was a
Republic,
zero
cannabis-
they
cannabis
don't count themselves as British then, Ichabod. Okay. Ah. Do you know what? There's some Liverpool fans always say they're not English, they're Liverpudlian. No, they fought for Britain in 2 World Wars, and it was who they are, and it was about the land and religion. Because Liverpool fans always say they're not English, they're Liverpudlian, and I always thought it's because of their Irish side of them. Yeah, so there's a lot of Irish in Liverpool, isn't there?
explosives, and that didn't come didn't come free. These had to be procured, and they had to. And I believe you would have to pay big money. You'd probably pay more money than procuring the weapons than you probably would as paying for the actual weapons themselves.
Where would these weapons? I know during the conflict, the IRA were funded a lot of the time by Gaddafi, giving weapons by many nations.
Sadly, and regrettably, we didn't have that support.
No, that's what I mean.
We had support in England.
Did the British government?
I had contacts in London, right?
Yep.
Good, brilliant support in Scotland.
Yep.
But other than that, nothing. In 1987, there was a shipment, and it was, I believe, the only shipment that Loyalist paramilitaries had, and it came from South Africa, and that's where the heavy weapons came within, and we desperately needed them because the weaponry that the IRA had and the explosive was phenomenal.
Unlimited funding from Islamic nations.
But they had support from America.
America,
I mean, their propaganda war machine was second to none. So they had support, and they had the best of weapons, whereas we only came across good weapons in 1987, and it was AK-47, grenades, and pistols, and RPGs. RPG. We used them when we got there before they let them get into the country. But again, this is where the informers from the top. Then the police didn't just stop them cars and seize all them weapons. And but some of the weapons got through, and that's where where the Loyalist C company was able to get their hands on some of them and used them to effect.
And then went to war properly.
Yep. But again, the IRA was still outnumbered when it came to weapons and explosives and the experience they had. And sadly, Loyalists did not really have the expertise until near the end of the conflict of explosives. And it's my understanding they came across some plastic explosive then, and it was used again, the deadly effect in some cases.
What's your view as an enemy of the IRA? What was your view of the IRA as an arm?
Well, to be honest, Tommy, and to answer your question honestly, I grudgingly respected the IRA. Grudgingly respected them because I've
seen them described as the best guerrilla warfare army there's ever been.
And the war, that's a fact, and I'm not scared to say that. I'm not telling a lie. Of course they were. Their bomb making technology was a step ahead of the British Army. They had the British Army tried to keep a step ahead of them. The IRA was always a step ahead of them.
Did you ever evaluate or look at what they were arguing for?
Well, I'll tell you something, and this is again, and I'm not. This is even the hunger strikers. I grudge you respect them, man. There was 10 IRA men.
I don't know the other 9. Everyone knows Bobby Sands.
Starved themselves to death for a political cause.
That's a dedication.
Right, dedication to the highest level. Now, I'm dedicated, and I knew that one day I could lose my life. The IRA will get me one day. But I accepted that because I didn't know what day it would be. So it was coming out of the blue for me. But these hunger strikers
coming to the end of the
these hunger strikers stirred death and was staring them in the face for 60 odd days.
And
so they accept that the IRA might kill me, but I can't see it coming. They're coming up behind me, or they're in my car. But that's unexpected. But these men knew what they were doing, volunteered to die, starved themselves for a political cause. So again, I grudgingly respect them, man.
Because those 10 men gave their lives, a war going on. They didn't use any weapons when they killed them. They gave their lives. Do you think that had more of an effect than the terrorist attack?
Well, it got them. Well, it did get them worldwide support. But Bobby Sands, he was the first to die. He was the first volunteer. Then he was followed by another 9 who all died. Now, and that was a time when the hunger strikers were going on and when they were dying, that the country was in real turmoil. But the rest of the world, the IRA was created a propaganda, and their propaganda war machine was second to none. And the support they got worldwide for the British government, the way they seen it, the British government's letting these here men die. They're political prisoners, and they're letting them die one by one. The war political prisoners, we were all political prisoners, but the British government tried to criminalise us, and the IRA wasn't having it. That's why they wore the blankets. And that's why they eventually starved themselves to death. But it worked both ways. But looking back on it now, you get people going that them men give their lives for nothing. But it was part of the IRA strategy, and it was, I believe, my opinion, it was well thought through. And obviously, these men volunteered to give up their lives, and I'm grudgingly respect them for doing it.
This podcast is brought to you by Urban Scoop. Any support to carry on this work will be greatly appreciated. Please visit urbanscoop.news/support us. Thank you.
Would you say you gave up your life? I know it's going to have changed since the peace process, but in the years from the moment you started your activism to the moment that you left Northern Ireland, were you free at all? Were you constantly waiting to be killed?
What was it I'll give you an example. The peace came, right? And I was at a concert in peacetime, and I was shot in the head at the concert. And then, after that, there was several attempts on my life. That was from loyalists, right?
Tell me about the concert.
And then...
Yeah, go on, I'll leave it.
Well, it was my first...
Mods, before I carry on, if any troll comes in, just leave it for a couple of seconds, please, because I want to highlight it on my screen, because I can't screenshots right away. Okay. So, okay, I've already had death threats in my chat earlier. So, just leave them there for a minute, or anybody can you just hit on the link and hit on the URL for us, please. Thank you, because the person who's a part of my station is not around in the background to do it for me. Okay. Thank you all.
First parole, and at that stage, the peace was bedding in, right? We didn't have the Good Friday Agreement exactly, but with peace, with ceasefires and all. So my wife had bought 2 tickets for UB40 concert, a band which I loved. I've loved them since I was a teenager. And I'd never got to see them because bands like that wouldn't come to Belfast because it was a war-torn country. But then there was peace, and then big bands like that would come. So 2 tickets, all brilliant, open our concert, we're going. But even then, my security team said, "Oh, you can't go up there, mate. Come on, there's peace. They're not going to come after me now." Unknown to me, I didn't take no security, just me and my wife, and lovely night, lovely song.
What year was this? What year was this?
What?
What year was this?
That was 19. What was 97.
Do you know what I couldn't understand? I mean, can you really understand why people in this country would really hate the Irish people? Considering a lot of innocent people have been caught in the middle of this fight. Because I don't understand it. Somebody could have, so every Irish person I've met, they've been really lovely people. You know.
40 or something.
14. What, you started going to a music festival with your wife?
Pardon?
You gone to the music concert with your wife?
Yep, going to the music concert with my wife. Open there, lovely sunny night, and it was great. And then the band came on, UB40. The songs just going. Everything's brilliant. The next thing, fucking just a big flash. I initially thought it was a hand grenade. It was just the flash. But he came behind me and hit me in the head. Right, just shot me right there. And I remember.
Fucking hell. He got shot in the head while he's watching a concert. So somebody's just gone behind him, actually standing behind him, most probably for about 10 minutes, and just shot him in the head. Fucking hell. That's fucking mad.
Remember, slow motion, and I believed. You know, you see cowboy films and all that. When you get shot, you stagger about. No, but I knew you're Dan. But I didn't want to. The man that was telling myself, don't fucking fall here, because you fall. They all know you've been shot. They all know that it's Jonny Adair. Okay. And something was telling me that in that split second, don't drop. And I ended up fighting one of the ones. See, when I realised that I wasn't dead, I just turned around. And I could right?
Before I carry on, there's 3 favourites to take over the England job. I said I wanted Graham Potter. He's in the running. Frank Lampard and Brentford's Thomas Frank. Which one would you like out of the 3 guys? I think Graham Potter would do well in Europe. Sorry to go off topic.
Because I realised I wasn't dead. Because he's still on his feet, and I was fighting like a fucking animal.
He's been shot in the head.
I was just fighting for survival. But I ended up, and I turned around to people who were doing security. But it turns out they were IRA men doing security, and one of them in particular, who's a well-known.
Yeah, that's why I'm really confused. I really need to have a show with 2 people who actually lived it. To be fair, for me to process it in. I'm gonna have to start watching some documentaries. Actually, my project is going to be about Ireland for the moment. The only reason it's brought me onto Ireland's because of there's troubles in Dublin at the moment, and they're really kicking off over there. So I want to understand on the both sides. So I'm going to find a documentary, one from the Northern Ireland side, and then one from the Republic. Then we can discuss it, you know.
Known Republican from a Republican family in the markets area, Orma Road, and he didn't realise who I was with all the blood over my face. But when I got closer, he identified who he was. He just turned and walked away, and me look up and shot, help, thinking he would give me an ambulance or something. See what he seen through the blood.
Yeah, Lodge, it is, isn't it? But it's really they're really being defiant over it. Actually, I've seen a few clips and everything. What's been going on over there, and I think they've got every right. I think 1 week there was 3 attempts of abducting a child from a mother, just walking down the street. Yeah, it's got a bit out of hand over there, hasn't it?
Realise it's Jonny Adair. Fuck away, man. So I run, and lucky enough, there was a car had just was given way. You know where you give way at the top of the street, and it was a taxi. Well, I just opened the door, jumped in, taxi. The one looked at me because Catholics were petrified of me, and I didn't know at the time he was a Catholic. I said,
"It was a Catholic taxi driver."
And the reason why I knew that because the police, when they took a statement on him, they said, "Jonny, do you know who saved your life at the time? You're not going to believe it. It was a Catholic, not I mean, fuck me." But he was a Catholic.
It's crazy, isn't it? A Catholic person saved his life, more or less. It's mad, isn't it? Where you fight for a cause, but the trouble is, you always meet someone it's going to be all right for the other side. And like I said, it's good and bad in everyone, isn't it? And it's really hard in life, isn't it, to stand against something. Then there'd be most probably you'd have someone who saved your life. So I wonder if he ever, have that in his heart, thinking, "Hang on, this guy helped me."
If that was the IRA had done it, and here's me, if they know that they have failed, they'll fucking crack up and they'll come to the hospital and finish me off. So we went, and then we had to go to a hospital. My security team took me to a hospital, which was in a Protestant area, nowhere near any Catholics, where it would have been harder for the IRA to come.
No, agreed. Lodge, like, and I'm gonna tell you what, the people of Ireland or Dublin, I've been there, very nice people, and I think they're very welcoming. But I think what's happening there, it's really got out of hand, isn't it? There's incidents happening, and it's making the natives angry, and it's quite common. And thank God for Twitter putting it out there. To be fair, there's some stuff that's really bad been going on over there. Not about the rights by these illegals they've let in, are not vetted. It's crazy what they've done to a small place. I tell you.
But and that was it. So they took the bullet, lodged, hit me in the head. It was a damp round, and travelled right up and stuck there. But they operated and took it out, and that was it. I was only out in parole.
You was only out on parole?
Out in parole, so...
What was your wife doing? What's your business doing at this point? Because people think they've been...
Well, she was fighting with him. Me and her was fighting. Well, she her too. Like, with respect to her, she was a brave woman.
How long was you with? Are you still with?
Guys, can you help me out? Who was his partner in crime with that? Who's the other one? Is it McCoy or something? He's gay, isn't he? He was part of the cause and he's gay. I think it's McCoy or something.
I was with her. No, not with her now. We're great friends.
Okay.
I've got my kids are her, and they're lovely kids. But Gina was a lovely woman, like, and she had a real rough time.
That's it. Sammy McCoy. Is it Sammy McCoy? He was gay. I saw him on Danny Dyer's Deadly Men once, and I think Jonny Adair is his close friend. I think he was in that documentary. Actually, that's how I first came across Jonny Adair.
Was you with that from young?
No, when we were together, I mean, because of my activities, my house was getting attacked. It was getting raided by the...
He's dead, is he? Or did somebody kill him? Okay. I'm gonna do a research on him and do a review on him. Actually, I'm gonna do quite a few reviews. Actually.
The RUC, the British Army. I was getting taken away to interrogation centres. So was Gina. I mean, all these things. Gina lived through it, but she was a strong
She's
woman.
a ride or die.
She was credit to her, and at the same time keeping a lovely home and bringing up kids so as there would be, I mean, not try to get involved, because my kids, they're not politically involved, or there's not a political bone in their body.
Is that because you didn't want them to be?
Oh, I wouldn't want them to be that, but Tom.
Right, I ain't got a clue. Inklebutt could tell you that. Yeah, there was two. Yeah, you're right there, Red. When I went to England matches back in the day, they would have flags with the UDF then. Yeah, and I could never quite figure out what that was about. Till I went to Lansdowne Road. Was it Lansdowne Road? In Dublin, the game got called off with a riot, which was pretty awful, to be fair. Combat 18 were there that night, and it was really unsavoury.
In the areas that we come from, were the areas where we came from, like the Shankill law, it was hard not for your family members, your sons and your daughters, to become involved one way or the other. Or if they don't become involved, they grow up with that hatred.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
I think that was 1995. Yeah, the Irish scored, and it was in the first half, and all of a sudden, at Lansdowne Road, and they started, and all the seats were wooden and they're thrown. I was at the bottom stand, and it just went fucking nuts, to be fair, and it was really horrible, you know, and that was political. That was political.
Realise the hatred. Nah, it's not as bad over there now because there's peace. Catholics and Protestants get on with each other now, which is a good thing. I never came and sit in distance like, are you with a Catholic, until my license was revoked when I got out of the Maze prison and was returned. The Maze was closed at that time, so they had to put me till an ordinary decent criminal prisoner, which was mixed Protestants and Catholics. And that's when the first time in years that I had been in the same company as Catholics. At the start, it was hard because they hated me. I was the devil to these people.
You must have been paranoid. They're going to try and do.
They tried to kill me. They poisoned me.
Did they?
Is it true McDonald's funded the IRA? Or was that just somebody making up a stupid myth about it?
The what?
The Irish National Republican group, Irish National.
When they poisoned your food?
They poisoned my protein drink, protein powder. But it's when I got into that jail, it was mixed. And they tried to isolate me, and I wouldn't. I mean, no, you revoke my license. You're putting me in the normal population.
Yeah.
So I went in there because I'm cocky, right? But the Catholics fucking hated me. I'll give you an example. The showers were long. And say I went and get in the shower, probably 5 Catholics and just me. And they're all talking to each other, not talking to me. They would have stayed uncomfortable. But when my personality shone through, most of the wee Catholics liked me. I went, Johnny's not this fucking
He's all right.
He's dead.
We'll do after this in a minute. After this one's finished, I'm going to do a different side of the story of I'm just looking out an interview with an IRA fighter. I'll play that afterwards. I'm trying to think who's actually who's had interviews.
And that was the first time that I became close enough with Catholics after all the years of conflicts. And to be honest, they were no different than me or you. They were just Catholics. And the only difference was they were Catholic and I was a Protestant. But we got on well. And even being who I was, although some of them were assaulted by the Republicans on the outside for being friendly with me. Because they were accusing them of passing me information about Republicans, which wasn't the case.
Well, when did you first go to jail? I know you spoke about this prison, but you said you was in the Maze.
Right, I was in the Maze and I got out under a good faith agreement.
The Maze was a paramilitary jail.
Paramilitary jail.
And British paramilitary.
Yes, but we're separated.
Yep.
Right. So, and then the Good Friday, the peace agreement came, and the Good Friday agreement, the person that signed the papers to get out, so they were letting me out, but then the British government stopped me from getting out. And that's never ever happened to any prisoner.
Is that the real Danny West? I thought I gave you a spanner, mate. Did you have one yesterday? Can anybody confirm this the real Danny West? Please. So I only got a spanner. Did you have a spanner yesterday, Danny? Yeah, read it. It's very. Oh, well, did you have one? You didn't have one on this station. It was on the other one, wasn't it? Oh, I'll give you one now, Danny. All right, mate. Don't know what's happened there.
So, and I'd already signed the forms. I was getting out in 3 weeks' time. Next thing.
How long was the sentence you was on at this time?
I got 16 years
for
for directing terrorism, right? And I'd done about
What year was
6.
this in? What year was
That
this?
was 1993 or 94.
Okay.
So I got at about 6.
Sorry, guys, with my regulars, I've just given you spanners, so because of the clones. Please, guys, if any troll goes in there, don't delete right away. Give me 2 minutes so I can highlight it. And anybody could screenshot the URL, please, because earlier I had death threats in my chat. Okay, thank you.
6 years done, and then the Good Friday Agreement came, so we got released early. But they stopped my early release, and I swatted for about 3 weeks, and then they reversed the decision and let me out. And then when it did let me out, I was the first prisoner released who had my license revoked and was called back to jail, because they had a clause: if you get involved with paramilitary activity without being charged or being brought before a court, we can just bring you back to jail. And we all signed up to that. And I was the first one brought back. And then they let me out again, and they brought me back again. And then they isolated me for 24 solid months. So when I sorted up, 16 years I got out for 3 months, and I got out for...
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Lodge. It was the other channel. I thought I modded him up on it. Anyway, the 3 favourites for the New England job is Thomas Frank, Graham Potter and Frank Lampard. Graham Potter's the one I would want as the England manager. I think he'd do well.
For another couple of months. I've done almost 12 years of my 16-year sentence. So the peace agreement didn't really do me any good. It done me worse.
What was it like being in the maze? Tell me about the
maze.
You're in the maze.
Look, once you get your freedom.
Guys, can you tell me what it stands for, the UFF then? Christ, man, there's loads to get through. Do you know what? There's loads of streams to do on this now, isn't there? Wendy knows quite a bit about this as well, don't she?
Taken from you, that's bad. No matter what the jail's like, it's your freedom. That's what counts. You don't wake up beside your kids. You can't bath your kids at night. You can't do the things that normal parents do. But you're in jail. You don't lose that family because they come and visit you. But your comrades, you create a bond with them, which become your family. And we're all in the same block together. We all look after each other, and we have the best times.
How many of you?
Oh,
do you know what? Did you, Dan? Do you know what? When I was growing up, he was a bit older. A black lad, his brother, my friend, his brother served in Ireland. He served in Ireland. I remember. I didn't take no notice, to be fair. He said he served in Ireland. Do you know what I mean? I just never was into it. You know, it was just
my
own life. You know, even when the bombings went off everywhere. You know. Wasn't afraid or nothing.
Wings of men, maybe 60, 70 men.
All your men as well?
All C Company men,
okay.
and we had...
Well, Danny, it's a shame you don't come on panels then. It would be great to hear your story. It's a shame now. Everyone has got stories in the chat and they don't go on panels. It's so frustrating. Wow.
Although it was jail, but we had the best of times because you had to look out for each other.
I've heard this parties.
Parties, you name it. Yes, women, drink, women, anything. The only thing we couldn't do was go home at night, and I mean that.
So is that? And to get to that within the prison system, to get to that,
you had to be a political prisoner, and we were political prisoners, so we had control of our own. But then,
did you have to intimidate the screws to do that? Did you have to send warnings outside of prison? Did you?
Do you know what, guys? Thanks for the information and that. And I'm taking notes then because I really want to get 2 people on from both different sides. I know it's going to be fucking hard. I don't even know who I could ask for that because I really don't know many who are in that war. But this is why I've never done a subject on it because I don't know much about it. But I will carry on doing documentaries and reviewing them, actually. That is the next. This is the topic I'm on at the moment. Ireland is I want to do all different countries. That's what I'm going to do. Get away from the other things.
You have to
Well,
influence them.
I'll tell you what happened. We were in an old Georgian prison, the Crumlin Road prison, and it was a fucking hellhole. You were locked 23 hours a day, and you'd loyalist one cell, Republican the next cell. It was a remand, loyalist Republican. And every time, if you'd have seen a Republican going on a visit, you had to attack, or he would attack you. So we wanted out. It was a shambles. So I was only charged with my charges. I was only into the jail 3 days. The next thing, we took over the jail. You may have seen. We're on the roof, and our instructions was
right. So I've
yeah,
got that philosophy for black people. You know, when people say black people for black betterment and all that, but like I said, I've always said, you know, black people have gone through it. We just don't know because we're not black. You know, we quite say, oh, yeah, that's everyday keep money, but really, we don't know what they're actually feeling, really, because we're not black. You know. And this is a bit of a similar thing, to be fair.
Through and we got climbed on the roof.
Yep.
Somehow managed to get on the roof, but we needed out of that jail because it was a hellhole, and we needed segregation away from Republicans. So we got on the roof, and our instructions was we'll bring it brick by brick from the fucking slates right down to the car park, and then the screws came, they cut it, they'll come down, will not harm us. They didn't assault anyways. And then 2 nights later, we agreed to go through the walls, which were 3 foot thick. And our instructions was to get segregation. Now there's a Republican next to you, and then vice versa. It keeps going like that, loyalist Republican. And the instruction says, once you get through that wall, it doesn't matter how long it.
Yeah, well, I've just noted that down actually, in Kabod. I'm trying to find, you just said that. I'm going to see it. What I do, and sometimes I get away with it, is if you go for the content uploader with less subs, not a lot of subs, like just like a couple of hundred, you could get away with it. So that's why I take the time finding these documentaries. Then you don't really get a warning.
Takes, we'll all get through it. It's kill or be killed. If you get through that wall, you kill that fucking prisoner. And then I was banging mines, right? And with the bed end. And I remember the walls just the ends. And there was 2 Republicans from the markets in the next cell to me, and they were shouting through, "I'm mad dog, you simple bastard." He thought in a million years you would never get through a thief. But see, after a couple of hours, it was becoming more and more clear that I was coming through the next man, a lovely wee man, and they beat the fuck clean out of us. The screws, the
Protestant screws, Catholic screws,
doesn't matter. The screws were mostly Protestants, but they beat the fuck out of us. They were bastards. They were. They handcuffed my back, and see, before they handcuffed me, they twisted my arm so it was intense pressure on my muscle, and then they fucking knocked the handcuffs. And I was like at the 5 o'clock in the morning, a doctor came in, and I was fucking crying. You know what I mean? But they beat the fuck out of us, like. And was the doctor get them fucking handcuffs off him?
You see when they do that, did you not want to deal with him on the outside?
Oh, they were dealt with on the outside. Okay. There was prison officers killed. You know, but
by
the thing what happened once we got the segregation, it was like heaven. The prison officers were eating out of your hand. They were calling you, "Sir, can I do anything for you? Can I do?" It was, whereas when they were in the criminal jail, they were Nazi bastards. Okay. They were really, but they treated you like fuck me. I went down with earrings and my nibbles, no 2 week sleepers. And
you had what?
No, earrings, sleepers, on my nibble piercing, right? Yeah. And there's your man, like, I says, "Get that." And I attended it. Me, "I can't get it out. It's welded." And he said, "It's all right." Next thing, there's me like that, being cocky. No. Next thing is cunt with screw with the doctor's coat and all on, the big white coat and a big hacksaw. Hear me, "Oh fuck that!" The cunt was going to saw it. Hear me, nah. Fucking take it. They were bad, but once we went to the maze, it was the screws were. It was
Wait.
Well, no, because we were in contact with our political party.
Yep.
They could come to jail, and because of the man that was going on in the talks.
You were doing 16 years. Was there people doing 20, 30s? Was there people doing longer sentences than that?
Oh, that's see, company. That's all. It was all heavy sentences.
Okay.
It was all big sentences.
So was that a massive tool that the government had to negotiate the peace process?
Important. It wouldn't. The agreement wouldn't have happened without the prisoners being addressed.
Okay.
We never have happened.
How did it feel? Knowing you're getting out.
Well, I wasn't.
Life. I know, like, it's chaos, it's dangerous.
Yeah,
it must be a buzz as well.
It must getting out of jail.
No, the life you were living. You're leading a military wing. For a man.
Yeah. But the good thing is, when you were in jail, you were in with all your comrades. There was no more guns. There was no more bombs. There was no IRA men coming off you. There was no more checking onto your car. You were there with the men that you fought the war with, and they were brave men, and they were courageous men. And we just had to give each other as much comfort and support. To be in the paramilitaries, you can either eventually, if you get caught, you go to jail, or worst case scenario, you could be shot fucking dead.
I read that someone got shot dead in the prison.
That's right. There was my mate, who was a comrade, I would call him a comrade, the late great Billy Wright. You would have heard him. Yep. He was a one-time UVF leader, and then they expelled him, which was totally wrong. And he formed his own group called the Loyalist Volunteer Force. Okay. And he was like myself. What I was in Belfast, he was that in the country. He came from down.
Okay.
And he was one of the most active units in the UVF going. He was UVF at the time, and then they became the LVF. And sadly, Michael Stone came in and told me that news as already morning.
Where was you when Billy?
Alana, top of the bed, and Michael Stone. You know, I was in the jail, but a different part, different block.
Yep.
They story about the same block where Billy was fucking with a shot Billy. There was an informer, a rat, and this one I agree with. They were able to get him onto their wings. They conned him on. You're all right, no, we'll forgive you for what you've done. But he was killed in the jail. Okay. And there was 2 guys charged with his murder. But they beat it. Thankfully, they beat it.
So the rat gets killed, but with Billy, if it's all paramilitaries,
and this is the most secure. This is the most secure prison in Europe, supposedly.
And if it's all loyalists, how did you get killed? Who killed him?
Yeah, NLA, because what Billy was Loyalist Volunteer Force, and both hadn't signed up the peace agreement. So the authorities knew what they were doing, put them on the same block, and it's inevitable they'll be killed.
They'll
And if you read the investigation that happened into it, there was feelings of that there was no prison officer in the watchtower. The cameras were cut off. Oh, multiple things. But Billy was set up in the highest level. We all know that. We all know that.
And you think they got rid of him because they thought they would have
had
to
get rid of him because he was against the peace process?
Yeah.
It was a genuine loyalist, a true loyalist who's seen all the wrongdoing to defend our country. And he done an excellent job, secure jail and prison.
Did anyone get?
But they got out after a couple of months on their good peace agreement.
So they
got him. He's now dead himself because nature fixed him.
Because
cancer, nature.
Oh, okay.
Nature fixed him.
So you think?
And nature will help. That's what I always say. Look, see, if you don't get the touch, you don't shoot them. Nature will deal with the cunts, and that's the way I look at it. But nature dealt with him.
You 100% believe then the British government had the involvement in
absolutely, without a shadow of doubt. Without a shadow, there's too many feelings. Too many should never have happened. Them two groups should never have been put in the same block together. No.
And right as well. Did I read that someone?
But this is what the dirty tricks do. That's what they do.
The British are the best at it.
They've done it with me too. In Castlereagh, because I wouldn't take her 30 pieces of silver.
What's Castlereagh?
Castlereagh was an interrogation centre where they took people for the question about them terrorist offences, and they took me there. Oh, I was there every other fucking week.
And what happens there?
They take you in there and hold you for a week.
And is that a prison?
No, it's you're put in a prison cell, right?
Yep.
And it's silence, just silence. And every minute is like an hour.
Oh, yeah, nothing.
And there's nobody in there. Your comrade's not there. Your mummy, your dad.
All podcasters help each other out for guests. I think James English had him on before. So, yeah, they normally do the circuit, don't they? So if they're friendly with other podcasters, they'll have them on. But Tommy's had some really good, interesting guests on, actually. The Mayor Tuesday story was a good one. I played it the other day.
They're questioning about whatever they're questioning.
And Avi's.
About, and they're drumming you in for 7 fucking days. You don't get to see a solicitor for 2 days, and then 3 days after that. And it's easy doing maybe 2 days. We see when they get an extension for a further.
Yeah, it's under Urban Scoop. Yeah, but if you think he's a journalist now, if people they will have all kinds on Monday now. So I don't know Tommy's stance with Ireland. I thought his parents were Catholic. I'm not too sure. I might be wrong.
Further 7 days. That sorts of money from the boys. And I've been run many 7 days. And what they do years ago, they would have physically assaulted you.
Yeah, Street Journal. He's a podcaster now, isn't he? So everyone else has had him on. I know that. So they can't really dig him out for it. James English has had him on, I think. I think Sean Atwood has as well. And a few more, I think. So, yeah. I suppose it ain't a good look now, really. But then again, it's hearing people's different stories, isn't it?
Gee, but because they started putting cameras and all in, because people, the European Court of Human Rights were saying there, this is wrong. So,
yeah, Danny, that's where I first found out about Jonny Adair. And his mate McElroy, which Inkabud said he died. He was a gay guy, wasn't he? He's his best mate or something. Is it Sammy McElroy or something? Or Corey or something like that.
What, they just verbally, mentally tortured you, or tried to anyway? and they would blackmail you. They would try to recruit you, which they've done with me several times.
What, offering you money?
I've come in with the money, a suitcase full of money, and then they realised, fucking, he's not interested. Money's not his god. So they realised, what else does he do? You know, he likes the women. So the next thing, this good-looking special branch woman, and she tried.
How long you been in there? 5 days? Yeah, go on then.
That's it, Incabod. You're right there. That's it, Corey. Actually, I'm going to find him in there if there's an interview somewhere where I don't get striked. But Urban Scoop are very good. They don't strike. I will do a donation or something to their work or something.
No, but no, so after they realised about the money, they must have went and had the wee conference and went, fucking money didn't turn him on, or he wasn't interested. The way the ones before him would fucking break your arm for it. So they said, what's his next best thing he likes? Well, he said he likes a woman. So the next thing, I goes in the free room and there's this girl, pair of jeans, pretty looking girl.
To be honest with you, I'm quite impressed by Tommy's podcast. He's had a couple of Muslim ladies on. I played. I can't remember which one it is because there's 2 now he's interviewed. I can't remember which one I reviewed. I've got to look through it because I wanted to check that one. But the Avi story was a really good story, actually. It was quite outrageous. Yeah.
Sweatshirt on. That Jonny introduced herself, like talking away, give me a fag and all. Nicest names. Jonny, I've been on your case for a long time. I've pictures all over you everywhere. I've followed you here, there, and everywhere. Load of fucking, right? No, she wasn't telling load of shit. She was telling the truth. She says, I've got to like you, Jonny. There's something about you, Jonny. Could me and you meet? Fuck the special branch. Fuck you, are you saying fuck you, FMI? I know.
I bet he's doing something, because look, I know he's in his 50s or something, and he looks quite good for his age. It wouldn't surprise me he's for muscle for hire still, you know?
What to do? Go fuck yourself. If you look at your hole, I'll say more 2 wankers with a suitcase full of money. Fuck that.
Boy,
no, they tried everything. They tried everything.
Did they go for your family?
What?
Did the British security? You see, like with what they imprisoned me multiple times.
So I've had to stop it to get it back on. It is StreamYards. StreamYards did tell me it's playing up.
He's not into what that says. Although they turned the house over a couple of times, which was wrong. And they told me, they says, when they had me in Castlereagh, they says, we're going to turn we know your mama and daddy's nice people, we're going to turn their fucking house over. I mean, if you do use of the bastards, because you're telling me you know they're nice people.
But you're still going to do it.
But you still do it. But thinking they would break me. Use every fucking weapon, every tool they had in the box to try and break them. Get them to turn the way the others turn. Not a chance in fucking hell.
I read about, so you was in the maze where you're saying it was great.
Yeah,
it was good. It was okay. It was okay other than having your freedom lost. Then you get out and you get put back in, and then they put you on a 24 months solitary confinement. Right?
Well, they put me in right, Macabre.
I've been to Ayr, Airdrie. It's a seaside town, isn't it? Yeah.
My safety and for someone else's safety. So I think it was, I'm not sure, because I tried to take it to court and all, wouldn't happen. It was Rule 24 or something, I think they labelled it as. But anyway, they put me in the woman's prison on a block, a whole big cell, big prison wing, with nobody else in it.
Yeah, Danny, there is, isn't there? There's kneecapping, isn't there? And things like that, they still do. Yeah. But you just don't hear much about it.
Right? Only me, and about 20 cells, and just deafening silence. 2 screws behind the grill. What they had done, they had just opened my cell door.
5 minutes
and when my dinners came, they went down to the phone and handed me my dinner and my breakfast in. 24 fucking months I spent in there. I didn't have a visit for a full year. Right?
Tell me how.
My wife was diagnosed with cancer, a bad form of it. They wouldn't even handcuff me and take me to the hospital to see her. nothing. But they believed the British, I believe the powers.
Well, 20, I've done 5 months then.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
But in Belmarsh, I had my own unit, just me.
Yeah.
And then 2 prison officers. But for 30 minutes a day, they used to open the door and I'd walk around the little courtyard on my own.
Yeah.
And then go back in. But how did that? I only done, as I said, I always feel sorry for myself. And then I read yours and thought, 24 months. I'm facing 2 years.
Over the world. Because I either like me, love me, or hate me. I was a public figure and people loved me. People hated me. My enemies despised me. The police despised me. The government despised me. Like yourself, Tommy. Lots of people. But there's people out there who loved me and who liked me. And that's what got me through the loneliness. I got bagfuls of mail every single day. And that's what got me through reading all them. And I always made it my business, Tommy, that if I got letters from no matter who it was, an old woman or a young wee fucking teenager girl or a wee young kid or 9 or 10-year-old.
Really got. Do you know what? I'm gonna have to change over to something else than StreamYard. I tell you, because you don't get your value for money.
Except the hate mail. Got a couple of hate mail ones, like.
Did you?
But Tommy,
I got the Quran.
I hope you don't get the jail. But if you do, you'll be like me.
That's what I done last time.
You'll get more letters than I got.
The mail. Just sat there reading mail.
You'll just read the mail and that gets you through it. Because it's good. Because you know there's somebody thinking about you. You're not alone, Tommy. You might be isolated. Absolutely right, because I can relate that. Even me, I see me getting letters from police inspectors who were, Jonny, please, trying to talk sense. And letters from what? I remember getting a wee old age parent sent me a letter with £5 in it. That melted my heart. A wee old age parent who probably had nothing sent me in £5.
Thinking of you.
I mean, that policemen, Christian people, Chinese people. American woman wanted to marry me. Some girl from South Carolina. She must have been a fucking nutcase. Tell me, see in my case, see what the screws done. So I was complaining. I mean, like, so what the bastard's done. Again, not the screws. I don't blame the screws, but the authorities. See, they expected me to hang myself.
Yeah.
I didn't do it because there was a friend of mine's prior to that in the same place hung himself in that jail. God rest his cotton socks. So what the cunt's done when I was complaining, I mean, look, what are you fucking trying to do to me here? I said, look, for a punch bag. Declined it. I mean, give me a skipping rope. No, you'll hang yourself. Everything. No, like, and then they'll probably get the doctors. And say, oh, his fucking head's away. Section him off. See, I'm telling you, nobody to play. But that was them was playing me.
Yeah.
Bastards.
How many children?
I have 3 girls. 2 girls and a boy. I lost one of my son, 2 boys. I've one boy now, and I've lost my son some years ago to fucking drugs. That was a sad time in my life with me. He came to Scotland. He would have been, was that 4 or 5 years ago? He's just late 20s. He died with heroin. He was in jail. And a good looking big lad, a fit big lad, and it just
We got
Scotland.
Did he get on the heroin in the jail?
Well, yeah, something, and he just, I don't fucking know, but we were against all that. But if you're in
Was
the
this
wrong
5 years ago?
you're wrong. Yep. When you're in the wrong crowd, obviously you'll curiosity. No, I'll tell you what happened. When I was in jail in Northern Ireland, yes, we were in jail. My wife was living in Poland. So see, when I got to jail, the cunts took me to the cell at 5 o'clock in the morning. Right, took me to the army place with a big helicopter. Put me in a helicopter and flew me to fucking Manchester.
This is the peace agreements happened.
Peace agreements great, but won't let me back.
But you're getting out of jail
because they think I'm coming out with like an angry monster to go after the people that done what they done to my people. I mean, my own comrades.
When you say
because it was a feud, it's because it was a Lord's feud. So they flew me and a helicopter to Manchester. They brought me to police station in Horry. Obviously, the special branch came in, read me the radar. The next day, I was in fucking Belfast. One of the fucking instigators stores, robbing the store at 8 o'clock in the morning. Come out, you cardly bastard, you. He wouldn't hit the set. He was one of my best mates. But like the rat he is, he's got his own coming too. Nature's dealing with him too. But this rat, and I knew what I was going to do. I'll start at the fucking top and I'll chip my way down with these cunts because I knew them. They're cardly bastards. Every one of them. So I knew.
Why do you think they turned on you?
Because, look, I've no doubt in my heart.
I hope you can still hear it. The visual is not working now. Oh.
Turned to me for no reason at all. We never had an agreement, a disagreement. We never had a fallout. We never had a different opinion. We were all on the same page.
Were you too famous and too influential?
No, I was the British, and I was too active.
Well,
I was a man. The British, the special branch in MI5. No, see if something happens to Protestant people. Make no mistake, this small and that fucking go to a pub and get drunk and talk about doing something. This cunt will be doing something within hours. And that's what they knew. They knew you need to cut the head of the chicken. And you cut the head of the snake, cut the head of the snake, and the rest is going.
So tell me, because I read other things saying that you were leading C Company and you wanted to lead all of them.
That's a load of AIDS. And I could honestly say, my hand on my heart, when these certain informers weren't around, I had a great relationship. Take over another area who were not active or who were, you know what I mean? It would make no sense. We were, look, I'm going to say something. The UDA as a whole, 80% or 85% of all UFF operations came from Lower Shankill C Company. And I'm talking about the whole province. 85%. So that lets you know that's out of 6 brigades. And you must high active that C Company war.
And massive
influence. I've done a review on Frank Portinari. he was on a black channel called DNC, and I will review it again because he didn't strike me. I'll do it again. Actually, I'll do that tomorrow. And you know what? It was quite bizarre actually because he was quite with the National Front, but he said he didn't believe in their beliefs, but it was the only party to join back in the day. I'll get that up, Frank Patanori. Quite an interesting character, actually. And I will get it. It was on that channel DMC, young black lad interview. And they got on really, really well. And he didn't judge him either. They really got on well. And he's supporting his channel as well. So, yeah. I'll review that tomorrow.
You must have carried an influence amongst all the others.
Absolutely, and that's why we were so successful. Because people, I give the men that respect, and in return, I give them that, and I treated them like my own fucking family. And you get rewarded for that. People will love you, and that's why C Company was so successful, and that's why there were so many young people who wanted to be part of it because they knew this leader's for real.
Yeah. He, that interview what he done, and I saw a different look to him because there was a documentary, wasn't there? There was for some reason they tied him in with combat eating. It was nothing to do with them. It was World in Action done quite a few series, and his name got brought up. But yeah, and I thought to myself, do you know what? It was an honest conversation. And the young lad, he supported the young lad, the interviewer. It was really good to see. Actually, I'll review that tomorrow in Kabod because I think I lost that on my first channel. Got taken down, so I will play that. And that the young lad won't strike me because he was all right about it. So if I give him credit and all that, blah, blah, blah. So the next one would be Frank Patanori.
He's not an armchair general. He puts our interests first, and he hates Republicans, and he's fucking showing them that. And people wanted, good loyalist Protestant people, UDA men wanted to be part of that, and that's why fucking C Company was the strongest.
And how do you feel then with what you've gone through, with the leader you was? There's not many men who can lead the way you led.
Yeah.
To rise up the way you rose up and to carry the weight of that.
Yep.
How do you feel the level of betrayal to then sort of people try and force you out?
There's another one I want to review. A black guy who's friends with the man from the Grand Wizard of the KKK. How they are really good friends, and he tries to de-radicalize them, and he succeeded with a few of them. That'd be a good one, documentary to cover as well.
I know. Look, listen. The organisations don't run the organisation. I'm talking about all organisations. It's the powers to be. It's the powers to be who's run it, and they decide what happens.
I wrote that down in Kabod. I'm looking now for if I can find a channel with a lot of subs. And then I'll do that. Yeah, there's loads to cover now, and I'm going to be doing that. Maybe do a breakfast show tomorrow. I don't know if I'll go through with another one tonight. But there's lots of interesting things actually I want to cover. There's another one about the demise of the seaside towns as well. And then there's a documentary about this black guy who built up this football club, Peckham FC. There's loads to cover. I've come across loads, and I'm going to just do that now at the moment. Yeah.
Comes and when it happens. And see, I've served my purpose over there. I was there. Maybe this was meant to be. There's no conflict now, and I'm glad. And I'm not glad that there's peace for our...
like I said, but I've got to just find a channel who's uploaded it with not a lot of subs. Yeah, did that. I won't get striked.
fucking grandchildren.
Because it's not the content creator strikes you, it's actually YouTube, to be fair. It's the automatic system of say, oh, it's how that copyright copy, blah, 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 and all that crap. You know?
And their children in years to come. But when I was there was a conflict, and I was central to that within our organisation. I was the nerve centre of UFF operations. Now, there's no more war over there, so there's no need for me. So maybe this was all done for a reason.
I wonder if he has any nightmares with the things he done and went through, Jonny. I wonder these people, you know, like the gangsters have done this, and I wonder if they suffer nightmares as they get older. Because when you get older, you get remorseful, don't you? You know?
And in life, I always believe in what's for you will not go by you. And sadly, there's better men than me. We just mentioned one of them a couple of minutes ago, the late, great Billy Wright. There's better men than me, like UVF men, great UVF leaders, and UDA men and LVF men who are 6 foot under, who never lived to see it. I've survived it. And I've come out in the other end. I've done my jail. And more importantly, I can put my head in my pillow at night and never fucking never took the 30 pieces of silver from the British intelligence to betray my men. I could put my head in my pillow at night and sleep safely. And knowing that I've served my purpose, there's no need for me over there now. Do I go to Belfast? Yes, I do go over. Do I wave a red flag when I'm over? No, I don't. But I'm just glad and I'm grateful that there's peace over there.
What reception do you get when you go out? Anywhere? Just what's if you're in Scotland?
I've got a good reception, a lot of respect, because they're true, genuine loyalist people, and they see me as a loyalist hero and a loyalist legend. Yeah. I can't help that.
No,
I get all this fucking footage, and yes, I like that, because it proves to me that less people appreciate what I've done. Different agenda. There's no doubt about that. So
the reason I say that, Danny West, right? Because you know, you hear the ex-gangsters on the podcast, and they have that regret sometimes what they've done, and even he done something he believed in. I wonder if he regrets some of the stuff he's done and thought he wished he'd done it a different way, not so violent. You know?
I feel that's reality. That's the nature of the beast. That's what happens. It happens everywhere. There's skullduggery within the British government. There's skullduggery in the IRA. There's skullduggery in.
Hiya, Dan. Hope you're all right, mate. Nice to see you. You're up late. Well, so he turned on his own then. Okay. Do you know what? I might review the Danny Dyer documentary of him, actually. It's a bit of a more in-depth thing, to be fair, isn't it?
Loyalist paramilitaries, and they'll try and bring people like me down. But look at me now, I'm alive.
How did your life change? So when you've left, you've gone back to Northern Ireland, then you've had to leave Northern Ireland, you've gone to Bolton.
Yep.
How much of a different life?
Yeah, he was. There was another that's the other documentary I might review of him. It was with Donald McIntyre, and he friended a German. This German was fanatic over him. You just give me a reminder there, actually, Ichabod, about something. Yeah, that's the documentary I want to find of Jonny Adair. It was one with Donald McIntyre. That was the best one, actually. And they do a footage where he goes back to Northern Ireland. Yeah, undercover.
Was it coming to
Tommy, it was just an amazing, phenomenal life, like the life that I have now. Tommy, well, don't get me wrong. We thought the war was over. A guy got shot at the concert. But even here in Scotland, 6 years ago, there was 5 people who were caught that the MI5 and Special Branch had them under surveillance for...
What I gathered is they were sort of like a mafia type, really, eh? To be fair. don't get me wrong. Trust me if I'm wrong or not. Did he shoot his own son in the kneecaps as a for a punishment for something? Am I right?
For 13 months, plotting to kill me and my best mate, God bless his cotton socks, Big Scally. Planning to kill me and Scally. They had them under surveillance for 13 months, but them idiots get fucking jailed. But it's usually the hatred they had when, even in Scotland, and this cunt was from Ireland, that they were, and he claimed to be a dissident Republican, were wanting to kill me. Why, if they wanted to, would it be easier to go and get somebody in Belfast? But it just shows you how much of a hatred they had for me and Big Scally. But anyway, you're back to the question you asked me. No, life has been brilliant when you don't have the police arresting you. You don't have the police stopping you every day in life. You don't have gunmen coming after shooting at you. You don't have tackling onto your car for fucking bombs. And I mean, all these things are... It's a normal life, Tommy. And you see, the one sport that I go to, football and all, I wasn't really keen, but I go to Rangers and Celtic games now. But my passion in life was boxing. And you could never in Belfast because it was a dominated Catholic sport, although there was Protestant boxing.
Then, mate, when you download your stuff, mate, can you turn up your volume, mate? It's really hard to hear. I thought I'd tell you that, mate. So, you know. Yeah, so when you're doing a screen recording, mate, try and turn it up while you're doing it, mate.
I couldn't believe my luck when I go to Glasgow, London, Manchester, watch boxing fights, my heroes fighting and all. I couldn't believe it.
So come watch Danny Christie tomorrow, really.
But what?
Come and watch Danny Christie tomorrow.
I would have when I come back down the road. I know. That's a wee bit extreme, that. Like,
he's good and he's great and all.
Fuck that. You'd feel them punches sitting in the audience, wouldn't you?
They're over quick, some of them.
They were wee small gloves on the top.
Nah.
Just fuck that, nah. I prefer the 12 ounces. 8 ounces.
But life change coming to England.
Absolutely, and it's just life in England, and I come and see them, and no, life's great. I have a lovely life. I try to fucking training, and I realise when you get 16 years, there's one or two things you can do here. I'm not the most educated person, but I'm streetwise and cunning as fuck, Tommy, right? And money can't buy that. You learn that on the street. So I went to jail. I mean, now you can educate because the computer's not always in there, or you can just train physics. So I opted to take the training, and I swear I came out fucking 14 stone fucking solid muscle because I disciplined and dedicated myself to it. And ever since that, even now at 60, I go to the gym, I do the punch bag, I run in the mornings, I cycle. I love training. I love it.
How important do you think it is for a man?
I always say, here's the way I look at it.
Did you feel any better? Did you wish you trained in the early years?
The way I look at it, gives you mental strength, and obviously it'll make you that wee bit healthier.
Can I ask your opinion? The demographics are changing in Northern Ireland.
Yep.
The Protestant.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
In a democracy. Yep. What would your view be if they end up with United Ireland through the democratic process? Well,
that's the Good Friday Agreement states that if the will of the people, if the majority of the people vote for United Ireland, they have to accept it.
Friday Agreement. And the other thing I want to cover actually is the bloody Sunday thing. Yeah. I'm interested in that at the moment. I think that would be the next one I'll actually cover, the bloody Sunday. Yeah, There's loads, actually. My mind is processing so much with a load of stuff to cover, you know.
That's a better pill to swallow for me. I'm not over there, but I'm in touch constantly with people from there. And I know it's gearing towards a place where it never was when we were there. And I'm not saying a United Ireland. Slowly but surely, it probably is gearing in that direction. All the signals is there. But it's an environment now where people are getting on together. And this United Ireland thing is... I don't think it's... I'm not going to see it in my time if it happens, or loyalist people. I was there when that hatred and that blood and guts and mayhem was there. So it's a good place now. I mean, you've more children now going to these integrated schools, which is a good thing. In my day, you didn't have anything like that. You're fucking segregated. And you have Catholics living in Protestant areas, something that would never have happened when I was there. And I just don't mean because of me. I mean because that just wouldn't happen. So things is moving on at a pace where things that we probably thought were important then, that don't seem to be that important now. That's my opinion.
But Ireland's changing, and so is Northern Ireland pretty fast now with other immigration.
Yeah. I'm sorry, was
with
that?
other sorts of immigration.
Immigration.
I done a documentary recently in the Republic of Ireland.
I've seen it.
Looking at the influx of Islamic immigration.
That's bad for it. But in fairness to the Irish people, they're making a stand, Tommy. They are making a stand. They're coming on the street and they're forcing it. But in my opinion, right throughout the United Kingdom, and Northern Ireland's part of it too, because they're suffering too.
You know, it's really strange. Out of the two, over the immigration, I thought Belfast would be demonstrating more in the Republic, to be fair. I don't know why. I thought it'd be more likely Belfast people would be doing it more in the Dublin ones.
It's got out of hand, and the rat has the damage is done, Tommy. It's not. It can't. I don't believe it can be fixed. It could have been addressed maybe 10 years ago, but it's getting worse.
When I look at, because I always heard growing up in Luton is not Irish.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always heard about the IRA, and when we looked at what happened in Luton, everyone said it would never happen in Ireland.
Yeah. But I'll tell you why, and on both sides, because it's all peace, it's all the people money. Government will be paying them political parties like Sinn Féin or loyalists. Look, listen, see them migrants, we're going to let them live in that array. If you leave them alone, there's so many £1 million.
Yeah, which is what's happening.
Because see in the Shangle, where I came from, there's fucking street loads of them. That would never have happened. Nah, nothing happens. And I think some of them stepped out of line. I think they were even involved in a rape. Now, the paramilitary's run the show and there's fuck all done about that. So that tells me the fucking money was...
Because I keep...
See, it's all community government funding, and they're paying them, and so they're banning them away from felons. So when it comes to the migrants, I've no doubt in my mind that they have both the organizations have been paid a lot of money to turn a blind.
Bloody hell, this stream now, it's just getting on my nerves now.
A rape, and see, to be honest, I think it was a man. It was raped.
It was an 8-year-old man, and the paramilitary stepped in to say, leave it.
Well, they probably took money off and says, look, do it again and give me more money. Fucking bastards.
With everything you experienced in Northern Ireland and now where we're at in the UK and Britain, what can Britain do to stop the sectarian violence that you've seen? You've spoke about what it was like.
I mean, that's a valid question now, because you see that's the way it is. look what's happening. And sadly, the numbers they have is phenomenal. Yeah. You come down to this part of the place where you're from, Tommy, it's spot the white person, if we're being honest.
Yes.
That's phenomenal. And these are the dominant force. These are the people like yourself and the Britain First who try to voice. They're trodled on. The government's against them and everybody's against them. But Tommy, the answer to your question, I think it can't be prevented now. It can only get worse because what's happened now and what is happening on a daily basis, you have illegal immigrants coming in, and these people are coming in from countries where they don't know the value of life. They don't know the value of life. They wouldn't think twice about not raping an old age pensioner.
So, oh no, you are.
Fucking terrible. And I was pleased and glad to see yourself and the hundreds and thousands of fucking the British people going up to the Cenotaph last week in London, because see, for weeks it's been fucking all them other people fucking supporting fucking
and then they done it the next day anyway.
The Palestinians. But I was glad because I knew me. Look, we've lost it. We have hate to see the day, but it'll come where the conflict we had over there, only we were smaller in numbers. And you're talking about millions here. They're fucking outnumbering you and outclassing you and out fucking. And it'll get to the stage where your backs will be to the wall and you'll have to stand up and be counted. And that'll mean fight for what you're fucking.
You fight for your country.
Exactly. And that's what I can see happening.
Yeah, Lodger, I had a message from Streamyard. You know, I've been having trouble with this anyway. I actually got a message from Streamyard today. Sorry, be patient, blah, blah, blah. So I thought it was my computer, innit? I cleared it all out. So, yeah, there's supposed to be bad storms, aren't they, coming up very soon?
Because it's just...
Well, I think a lot of the British public, when in some questionnaires that I've seen in research, believe there'll be civil conflict eventually.
Okay, Danny. See you later, mate.
That's what I'm saying. Tell you, of course there will. Because
Islam has gone nowhere in the world. There's 45 countries where it goes, and when it dominates the numbers, there'll be conflicts.
And look at the done now that we look.
What do you mean, Lodge? Upgrades. What do you mean? Yeah, but Streamyard's got to sort it out because I pay £25 a month, mate. Taking a piss.
That we love Lee Rigby coming up and cut the Jesus fuck, and our this is our country, Tommy. You know what I mean? And that these people are coming and they can do that and think nothing of it. So could you picture fast forward another 5 years from that time?
What about Jonny? Looking back, if you look back now at your life, if you look about what about the royal family? Can I ask you about the royal family? What was your view on the royal family?
She was our queen. See this?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a fan of the royal family. Me personally, I think without them, we would have more money. That's just my opinion. A lot of people will shoot me down for it. I would sing the national anthem, but I would never mention the king or the queen as will be sat out. It's just one of the things, you know. I think they could do a lot more by putting more money on the streets for the homeless and things like that, and for our veterans and the Gurkhas, to be fair. She's the one there, well, he's the one actually who gives the go ahead and all that. So really, I'm not very a fan of them, to be fair.
Monarchy stuff, no, it wasn't right and yet 100% the way most people would be. But yes, that was our queen, and God bless the queen, and God save the queen, and long live the king.
I love the queen, but he's not my king.
No.
He's a World Economic Forum plant. I know.
But you see, Tommy, the world's changed.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Lodge, but what they should be doing, though, is making sure the royal family of this country should be making sure we don't have no food banks, and our veterans get treated properly. The Gurkhas, people who have fought for this country, yeah. So there's people who've been treated really badly who fought for the war for this country. And I just think they should be doing a lot more by contributing, by releasing some funds, me personally. It's just a thing, really.
And see, maybe Britain was a better time back in the Enoch Paul times. But that's probably before your time. But
yeah,
people like that when but listen.
Agree, Lodger. I do agree with you there. But don't you think, because they fought for the country and under their name, don't you think they should step in and help? Just make a fund account, for them.
You have to move with the times, and sadly and regrettably, that's what's happened. But there's things being forced on us that we're not happy with. But you know what? It gets to this stage now. There's fuck all we can do, Tommy. Or like yourself, you'll end up in fucking jail. So what do? You fucking keep quiet. Because they're the dominant force now all over, and you can't. Or the race cars play, and you're racist, and you're fucking banged up.
Do you regret anything, John?
No, Tommy, I've said this before publicly. I would be a hypocrite if I regretted doing what I do. And I regret that there was a conflict, and I regret that me and my comrades had to do what we've done. But would I sit here and say, no, that was fucking wrong what we done? No, because I would betray my comrades because I was their leader. Do you understand what I mean? And if I was to say, no, that was wrong now, and then it wasn't fucking wrong then. So how could I say it now? I regret the fact that
I understand you saying that, because I don't think with the new generation coming through, I know there's some who love going in the army, yeah, but I don't think you would be that confident they would have your back now. I don't think the younger generation have got it in them anymore, have they? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not saying all young generation, it's obviously there's some are, minded who wants to go in the army and really take to it. But judging what's going on, how the younger generation are they, would you trust them in the line of fire? I don't think I would. And I'm not knocking the younger generation because I do think they have been let down a lot at the moment. Basically left to their own devices, to be fair.
Of the fight for their fucking country. I'm glad now that there's hopefully a never lost in peace. And I think and believe that there will be, because the powers to be's on top of things, and they'll not let it go back to the way.
Well, I think the Irish people are now seeing that the powers that be that govern them are not nationalists anyway, they?
You think really, right? I would hate to be a teenager these days. I tell you, at least back in the day, you had a bit of an outlet. We did have, fucking youth places and that. They've just got nowhere to turn, the youngsters. If you're living in a working class community, there's just no support for them. Like the support we would have, and we had the support in a different way, and it's just, I think we're lucky, us lot, you know, Lodge. I don't know how old you are, God, Red, but I think we're lucky. I think we dodged a bullet.
Don't give a shit about the Irish people either. The Republic of Ireland are fully aware they're replacing them right now. Their women ain't safe either now.
Sinn Féin.
Sinn Féin is in bed. Sinn Féin is playing the loyalist card.
Because they're masters at it. See, they're proper. They're the propaganda war machine. Is fucking sacking the none. And sadly, our politicians back home are fighting and arguing over things that's not more important. The important things is health, education, things like that now. Right now, what people need now, especially at a time now where the cost of living's fucking sky high, and people are poor, and people in Northern Ireland, Belfast, they are poor people. You know what I mean? And these politicians are bickering over fucking things. Yeah, it's not crucially important.
It's always been expensive. Ever since they went into the Euro, everything got really expensive in Ireland. Really dear. Yeah, and they have, I think they've suffered that quite a long time, haven't they? The low cost of living.
The crucially important things now is health and fucking education for the kids and fucking and the poor. Look after the needy and not the greedy.
What about there was one comment attributed to yourself from a journalist in your book.
Yeah.
Where he says the only good Catholic was a dead Catholic.
No, that was a fucking joke. That was
Well,
that was a joke.
No,
you're right. No, you're right.
I planted that myself.
No, you know, no, I think no, she was some fucking journalist, and she was winding me up, and I was winding her up. And she said, "Now, as if I ever had a Catholic in my car. That's a non-starter." So she asked this silly question. She said, "Do you ever have a Catholic in your car?" I said, "Oh, I did one in the boot." She was a headlines. I was a headlines in the Guardian.
Okay,
fucking mad dog.
Because in context, when people get to know you, they know your humour, your banter.
Exactly. But
I said I'm Jewish. I said I was Jewish.
But the
oh mate, Jonny, it's what's the future for you then? Will you ever go back to Northern Ireland?
Tell me, I go back when I need to go back. I've been back, but I only go if I need to go. But will I go back or to live? No. There's no war, and I hope that I would never ever have to be involved in anything like that again. Because
I had everyone tell me from Northern Ireland as well, saying, "Listen, you do not want war.
You don't. But listen, sometimes, Tommy, but the politicians have to stop it, or people like you and me, where the victims could come on the street and try to stop it illegally, and then that's where you end up in jail. But the politicians, they're the men who supposed to be running our country and running it the right way. But if they have to stand up and be fucking counted, and
one thing I forgot to ask you there, am I right that someone
this was bombed, right? There was a bomb threw at my car, right? We were sitting doing vigilante duties at the peace lines because they used to come down, and I was just not long out of jail, so I was up. There was men to try and wreck these houses, so I would have had men on the ground all night. So I would go up and say, "Hey, are you lads or all these want anything to shop?" Make them feel good. So I'm sitting in the car with one of them giving up, and they must have seen motherfuckers out there in his car. So we're sitting talking away to the boys. The next thing, boom! Like 15 minutes later, fucking bomb. Now, I was sitting in my car, right? And there was another car beside us. We were talking to them. The bomb hit my window. It slid off my window and blew up, hit the other car. It fell at the bonnet and blew up in the front of the bonnet. There was a bomb thrown up my house, right? This was during the fucking feud. And I heard the police and all, Jonny. And I looked at them. Bulletproof glass and you couldn't hear nothing, but they come to the loudspeaker and I opened the door and put the bomb through at my house, a bomb through at my car. The British intelligence tried to shoot me outside my own door. But you heard of the 14th and out and run and had him in the leg with an AK round. It just grazed me in the side. And then shortly after that, an undercover soldier he lured me out of my house and he tried to shoot me. And again, my bodyguard was with me and he got shot 3 times that day.
What, he took the bullets?
He had a brass chub cane in his leather jacket pocket, right? One of them had him just in the groin, one round the groin, one in the pocket, and I reckon that saved him because the chub key took the fucking brunt of it. 3 times he was hit, and then he was shot on a separate occasion with me. He was
lucky. Then think, how am I still alive?
I know. Me towards him, right? He just kept walking. He wouldn't speak because he was English, Tommy, and he knew if he spoke an Irish English accent, he's trying to lure me towards him. And then I was 15 feet behind him. My bodyguard was 30 feet behind me. And when I arranged I was going after him and he was stopping. And then he was realising I wasn't coming any further. So he's walking away to lure me behind him again. But then after a while, I clicked, there's me, this is a fucking trap. And then he seen the fear in my face. And he knew I wasn't coming any closer. He just swung around, boom, boom. He was no threat, just there to kill me. Boom, 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 boom. Fired 11 shots. And I was fucking 15 feet from him. And my bodyguard was 30 feet behind me and he was hit 3 times. Fuck that was fucking, that was close too. But again, they were, that's what happened. They sent him in the fucking, I believe that because the IRA had tried to kill me, the NLA had tried to kill me, not for the want of trying.
I think they were sitting there thinking, how's he still, even, no wonder they wanted you exiled. No wonder in the end, after all this, the British intelligence was saying, we've got to turn it, he's got to go.
I know. And that's why they sent their own in. One of the attacks was an AK. Every single round found my car. Right? So the police took it, fucking frightened me, because every round found that car. See, right at the windscreen. So
Christ. Sorry, guys. Didn't realise. Sorry, the sound went a little bit. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard. I'm going to have to try another platform. But I hope you found that interesting. I think I might do a Frank Poltonari tomorrow, actually. I've got to get this fucking computer sorted out, though. It's doing my head in. Maybe it's because I'm upstairs, I suppose. I don't know. It's supposed to be the greatest broadband. So, yeah. Right, guys. Take care. Thanks for tuning in. I think I will do. Actually, I want to see a IRA. Actually, I want to find a IRA. There's another documentary I want to. There's a documentary actually I found. It was about. Oh no, what am I saying? I want to find an IRA fighter actually, and cover that. So we've got what their way of thinking is. But I will do Frank Poltonari. I'll do that again because I think that string's gone. Went on the other channel and it was with that young black lad DMC, and it was really good. They had a really good rapport. So I'm going to cover that again, and he won't strike me because he didn't strike me for the last one. So we'll go for that. And it's quite surprising when you hear people in an interview because you think, wow, you know, the television and that always gave them a portrait and this and that, and they're not, if you know what I mean. All right. I'll see you later, guys. Take care.